You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom.
AKA worthlessly lazy, but so game crazy.
This is episode 94, and I am Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my excellent co-host, Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming.
What's up, everybody? And we are also joined by a super special guest. Do You Nerd is in the house.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up, guys?
Not much. Thank you so much for having us on the podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, and hopefully everybody listening is familiar with you. But in case they aren't, would you want to just let them know who you are, what you do?
Well, we are Tom and Laci. We are a couple of nerds that collect just about everything there is to collect, from video games to board games, comic books, toys. We do a lot of event coverage whenever there are events to go to, such as, typical conventions, Renaissance festivals, and the like. And basically, we just try to share out whatever we nerd out about with everybody else that we call our nerdlings, who are into the same things we are.
Basically, if we like it, we nerd it.
Perfect.
And I appreciate it because you guys are into a lot of the same stuff I'm into, so I like keeping up with it. And it's a good thing you guys banked a few of those events because you've been able to get some event footage and stuff out during this terrible time of no events.
No doubt. We have missed out on so many great ones.
So sparse right now.
Yeah.
Going outside is an event now.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, I never thought I would miss eating at a restaurant.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Just the simple things. For me, I'm really missing just hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, going out to concerts. It's like
Yeah.
Conventions.
Yeah.
It's never ending.
I miss many of those things as well.
Yeah, it's Renaissance season starting right now in the beginning of May, and they're all canceled, so I already missed that, and they haven't even started yet.
Oof.
Pre-missed.
Yeah, and you guys, you hit quite a few Renaissance festivals.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 a year.
Yeah, you guys must be you either do a lot of traveling or you're in a good area for cons and events. Because
We usually try to keep it to about a 3-hour drive radius.
Excellent. Oh. Yeah, I wish there was something that close to me. There's a Target like 2 hours away.
Hey, dress up,
Yes.
go in there, start smiting non-believers.
Yeah, that's about as exciting as it gets. Duluth is 3 hours for me, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I have to go about 5. Well, MGC is, I think it works out to 11 hours.
Yeah.
Not close.
Well, you get GalaxyCon now in Minneapolis, so
Hell yeah, I do. Hopefully, don't mention it. They might be like, "Oh, we didn't cancel that yet."
What's November?
Yeah, so don't tempt them. They'll cancel it.
Yeah.
And then they better not. I will probably actually cry if they cancel it. I haven't cried yet about all the other things on. I might actually cry if I don't meet Optimus Prime and Megatron on my birthday.
Well, safety first. You don't want Optimus getting sick. I mean, that guy's always...
Yeah, I don't want to turn him into Optimus Prime, so...
Jeez. Indeed. Well, I guess, should we jump into a retro game highlight then?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so last time, Jason talked about Mischief Makers on the Nintendo 64. Shake. Yeah. And as per usual with guests, we like to have guests choose a game to highlight. So what do you got for us this time?
I was actually thinking about Illusion of Gaia, and I think this was a 93, 94 release in North America. And I'm pretty sure in the PAL regions, maybe in Japan as well, it's called Illusion of Time. but this is, if no one's ever played it, it's a really weird kind of RPG. It's an action RPG, but you don't level up in like a typical fashion. You don't grind for XP. You just defeat all the enemies in an area, and it gives you this arbitrary amount of experience. There's no currency. You have a finite number of health options like herbs throughout the whole game, and there's really no backtracking, but it's a beautiful game. It's got this fantastic soundtrack, and it actually is a lot of fun. It melds real-world locations and history into a fantasy setting. It's really unique.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, and the one thing that's really unique about it also is it's actually a cheap RPG on the Super Nintendo.
Yay.
That's a big thing. It's not an $80 plus RPG that you're gonna have to save up many shekels for.
And
Quintet. It's part of an awesome trilogy also.
Yeah, Quintet. I got Soul Blazer series, Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Terranigma.
Terranigma
is a lot of fun, but I've only ever been able to play it through an emulated fashion. I've never been able to find the actual game.
Yeah, I ended up picking up a repro of it because I didn't feel like importing.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
What?
Also, ActRaiser, I think, is another Quintet game, but not of the same series.
Yeah, another game, yeah. Yeah, they make that too. We know a guy who dabbles in that game.
Just a little bit of a fan.
Just a little.
Old ass retro gamer.
Our buddy Chris. Yeah, I think it's his favorite game of all time.
I think he's mentioned it once, maybe twice in all of his videos.
In passing, kind of under his breath.
Yeah.
But Illusion of Gaia is a really cool game. I've actually never finished it for some reason. I think last time I tried playing it was probably like 6 or 7 years ago.
Well, you just finished Final Fantasy VII, so your slot's open for another RPG.
That is true.
Did I catch you off guard? Sorry, knocking stuff over.
I knocked my mouse down.
Oh, darn it. Gosh,
I guess he's had none of that game.
He just took it and threw it. That was actually...
guy, yeah.
That was actually him taking it off the shelf and throwing it across the room. No. Right on.
I might consider it.
Do it.
Yeah.
After Yakuza 0.
I haven't forgotten. It's still on my little spot where I put games I am currently playing, which right now still has Dead Space Extraction.
Yeah, we got to finish that next time I'm done.
Dead Space Extraction, Yakuza 0, and currently Final Fantasy VII Remake.
We played through like 3/4 of it, and then we'll get back to Dead Space
One of these days.
It's our post-Corona goal. We'll do a big meetup and we'll finish that.
Sure.
And some other light games. I'll even bring my rifle thing so we can double rifle it.
Nice. That would be great to see.
It's so fun.
Cool. Well, let's run through some news topics before we spend a chunk of time talking about a couple of games in particular.
Absolutely.
I don't know. For me, not a lot of news stuff as of late has really been kind of jumping out.
No one can do anything or go anywhere to get anything done for news. So
what's extra time just to gossip, It's like the perfect time for news.
We ain't the gossip podcast.
That is true. Sort of. Except this recent gossip.
God, did you hear about this though? No,
no, so one thing I just wanted to mention actually was the information came out today, but I guess this happened some time ago to an extent. Valve, the game developer, mostly well known for games like Team Fortress, CSGO, Half-Life, Portal, so on and so forth. Left 4 Dead. Their source code got leaked today for Team Fortress 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And we've heard of source code being leaked before. It actually happened with Half-Life 2, but what is particularly detrimental about this is because of this source code being online. It's an online game. Apparently, this gives hackers the ability to actually do malicious things to other people's computers. They can push through code. I forgot the exact name of the exploit, but it's a pretty big deal. And right now, a lot of people are saying don't play Team Fortress 2 or CSGO because hackers are going crazy.
Yeah, so maybe they should, if it's happened before, maybe Valve needs to tighten the valve to prevent more leaks.
Oh, I see what you did.
Perfect.
That's the worst company name for someone who's going to get stuff leaked. Come on.
Yeah, apparently there is some kind of like modding community. Valve News Network. Somehow it's like it's its own group, and they're involved with the modding community. And I'm not sure if they were like. It was like with Valve's blessing, they were provided with codes so they could do mods or whatnot. But apparently the rumor is right now, because this story is still developing, is there's actually some bad blood between two of these folks working for this group. And one of them might have been let go or fired. And this was kind of their retaliation, I guess. Ouch. Or at least that's what the word on the street is. Right now,
they couldn't go with the classic "screw all you guys" over the intercom before they left.
I think it's a lot worse than that because it's pretty detrimental.
They can just go with the classic. Yeah, that doesn't really hurt anyone except for a couple people's feelings.
Busting through the doors with the double birds in the air doesn't cut it anymore.
Yeah, right. Gotta make sure you get your cell phone video. If there's not a video of it, it didn't happen.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, this is something I wanted to mention. I don't know if many of my friends that play either of those games anymore. So I think a lot of people are fine, but they're actually still both pretty popular games on Steam anyways.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Then I just wanted to shout out a couple game documentaries. I've kind of been getting into this routine of a few different content creators just because it's the amount of work that goes into these sorts of things, I think, are impressive, and they're a great way to highlight games where some people might not play these games. So that's why I like to do this. So I want to shout out Zygor Gaming again. I mentioned him last time as he put out a story explained video for Final Fantasy IV, and he was one of the people that was able to get the game particularly early because Square Enix released Final Fantasy VII Remake early. So he put together a story explained video. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet as I just finished the game myself, but I would definitely recommend checking it out for anybody interested. And then hopefully people are familiar with the channel Gamers, spelled GVMERS. Fantastic documentary series. Top notch. It doesn't get much better than them. I mean, very professional. But they put out a history of Mirror's Edge video, which I think is a severely underrated game, underrated series. I think people should check it out. Have any of you played Mirror's Edge?
It's been a while, but yeah, it was a beautiful game, and it seems like it had a really good soundtrack to it as well, if I'm remembering the right one.
Yep. Churches actually did some music for Mirror's Edge, and now they're kind of known for the Death Stranding song.
Sweet.
And there is also Solar Fields, I believe, was the other artist heavily involved with the first game.
Yeah, I've only played the first one, but I have both of them. I just haven't checked out Catalyst yet.
I think the first Mirror's Edge is a game I think everybody should check out because it's a very unique game, kind of like lightning in the bottle. Catalyst has some issues. Definitely, that was around the time when EA really started getting into their meddling with games and refusing to launch games unless they included tacked-in multiplayer, which is mostly true with all the EA releases now.
And then when it screws up their sales,
yeah,
that they did themselves, they're like, oh, no one cares about this series.
yes,
Looking at Dead Space, please.
looking at Mirror's Edge,
please come back. Yeah,
because that's what happened with Catalyst.
yeah. It's BS.
Yep. Yeah, and then you had an announcement.
Yeah, speaking of BS, there's a new Nier game coming out called Nier Reincarnation.
Well, that's not BS.
Well, it's BS what platforms it's coming to.
Oh, no.
It's a mobile game. As far as mobile games go, it looks pretty badass. I'll give it that. But damn, games like that kill the phone battery. So that's why I think I really don't like mobile game, because even if there's a good mobile game, it'll eat your battery in like no time. And my phone already sucks for battery life, so probably will not be checking this one out. Maybe it'll be good enough that they'll port it to like PSN and Xbox Arcade or something, but
it's a lot of hope right there.
Hey, you got a Half-Life game this year, so
that is true. That is true.
Don't slap me around for hoping.
Tom and Laci, do you mobile game at all?
I do very, very lightly. I have a habit of jumping back into Dr. Mario World. I know a lot of people don't really like that one, but I absolutely love it. But beyond that, honestly, I really just don't have the time, because the only time I have to mess around on my phone is if I'm at work, but then I'm working. And honestly, once I get home, I'm all about console gaming.
Yeah.
I usually don't even check my phone once I'm at home, so don't try to get a hold of me then. Sorry, nothing personal.
I hate you when I'm at home, and I like you when I'm in public.
How about you, Laci?
I do a lot of iPad mobile gaming. So
Okay.
I play like The Simpsons, Tapped Out, and the Harry Potter Wizards. Can't remember what it's called. It's the one where you're at Hogwarts, like Wizard's World or something. I don't remember.
Is that the one that's like kind of like Pokemon Go, but with Harry Potter?
Yeah, that one's Wizards Unite. I do play that one. I do play Pokemon Go. The other one, it's like Hogwarts Mystery Hogwarts. That's what it's called. The Hogwarts Mystery.
Oh, okay. The last one I played, I think, was the Fire Emblem game, which I really liked. But yeah, I theoretically own a tablet, but my kids actually own it because they just take it all the time. And I've only ever installed the one app, and that was that game. And then, yeah, I never seen it. It was lost for like almost a year. So, yeah, I've fallen out with that. Only other time I used it besides checking out Fire Emblem was when I did my Battle Royale stream thing. I used it to check comments and stuff like that. That's what's the only other time I've ever used it. But I got it for cheap, thankfully. So it's not a huge loss.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this game being on mobile. I kind of feel like there's a strong possibility, as long as it's available like on Android, I'm very likely to check it out, just because how much I enjoyed Nier Automata, and now with the Nier remake or remaster, whatever, coming out. And I still haven't played that, which I am definitely going to be playing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're hurting for a new Nier game to play, you can play Nier.
Right. I mean, I might even just play, who knows, I might play the original before the remake even comes out, just because I like, it's been growing on my list as like my desire to do more Nier has been.
Well, yeah, you went to see the orchestra and everything.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's I gotta say, that's the best game I ever got brand new for $1. Was the first one.
Did you play it?
Yeah, I played it.
Oh.
I didn't beat it, but I put a decent amount of time into it. I got to get back to it.
Tom and Laci, either you played any of the Nier games?
Add it to the quarantine list. You can
Do it up. Yeah, they're awesome. How about the Drakengard games, like the PS2, PS3 ones? Ever checked any of those out?
They are related, sort of. It's a weird. The universe is very interesting. Like you can play Nier and not have played any of the Drakengard games, and you can play Nier Automata and not have played the first Nier, and you'll be just fine because they're so disconnected. But there's things that, like, fans of the series, like, it's almost like Easter eggs and things you grow to appreciate.
Well, it's just like any of the Final Fantasy games. As long as they're not direct sequel games, you can play any of them and be like, all right, I know what's up. They do a very good job of just telling the story.
Yeah. Nier and Drakengard, they take place in like the same kind of like universe timeline. It's very interesting how it kind of goes through the story synopsis. Aurora Valkyrie is a YouTube channel that did an amazing like story synopsis of the Drakengard through the Nier games that I would recommend checking out for anybody who might not play the games and is kind of interested to hear the stories. Super good.
That makes me think, was it Vagrant Story? It got melded into one of the Final Fantasy worlds?
Tactics.
Okay, yeah.
As well as Final Fantasy XII.
Cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, they share the same universe.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I haven't played Vagrant Story or Final Fantasy XII, but I love Final Fantasy Tactics.
It feels like that's kind of the same thing they're doing with Nier and the Drakengard worlds.
Yes.
Pretty close, yeah. Yeah, anyway, so super recommend those games.
Yes.
Whoa. What else has been going on lately?
There's only been one thing going on for me, and that is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful game.
I've been so excited for this game for so long. There's so many people out there that was like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And then they announced it, and they're like, oh, it's going to fail. They're not going to do it. It's too much. And this is the result.
From what I've played, they haven't failed.
I just finished this a few hours ago. I've been playing a few hours every night, kind of binge playing on the weekends.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised it took you that long to beat it.
Well, I've been
pretty
taking my time.
Really disappointed.
Taking my time. I'm trying to absorb it as much as I can, not rushing through, and doing other things. I'm not. I play a lot of games, but I like to watch things, and I can't hang out with friends or family, but I can spend time with my fiance. So
that's cool. This is what I would call a grade A game to have someone watch you play. So
good.
I tried to set it up. It didn't work out in my favor. I got banished to the basement, but theoretically, I think it's an excellent game for other people to watch you play.
It is a really good game because the cutscenes are quick and close together, so you don't get bored with the fighting in between the cutscenes, and it's really cinematic. And I've really been enjoying just watching Tom play this game.
Yeah, it's pretty seamless too, or the way it goes in between, and I get the same feeling that I haven't gotten from many games besides like The Witcher, where I'd say like everything you do feels like it matters and it's interesting to do. Like usually there's like side stuff that you're like, do I got to do this? All right, let's get this over with. But this game, I feel like happy to do anything anybody asks me to do.
Sure. So we've talked about mine and Jason's history with Final Fantasy VII before. Tom and Laci, do you have histories with Final Fantasy VII?
I do. I don't think Laci really does.
I have no history with this other than the fact that back in the 90s, I was a big Backstreet Boys fan, and I knew that Nick Carter loved this dude named Cloud from this weird game called Final Fantasy VII that I didn't know anything about.
Sweet.
That is literally the only experience I have with Final Fantasy.
Well, you know what? I never had much of an opinion of Nick Carter besides, like, I wasn't into Backstreet Boys, but that's pretty cool.
NSYNC was more your band, right?
Yeah. Timberlake.
Nick Carter actually dressed up in one of the videos, or I don't remember which one it was, but he dressed up as Cloud, and he was that character.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, so that's how it's kind of weird for me watching this game because it looks like Nick Carter on the screen, too. So it's kind of like
when Cloud comes out of nowhere, you're like...
Run around beating people up.
When Cloud comes out of nowhere, you're like, oh my god, Backstreet's back. All right.
I'm like, all right, start dancing, Cloud. And actually, speaking of, he does have a very good dance sequence in the game.
Yes, he does.
He does
have some moves.
Jason's not there yet.
So no spoilers?
No spoilers.
I don't care about spoilers, honestly. I'm gonna be playing it tomorrow probably. I'll be beating it by the weekend. I'm pretty sure I'll just be binging this the whole way through.
Just make sure you enjoy it. Don't rush it.
Oh, I will.
Yes.
I'm doing all side things. I just go through games really quickly.
So, Tom, what's your
short amount of days? I put a lot of hours in usually to games that aren't Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 3. But besides that, yeah, I put a lot of. Yeah, I mean, Soul Calibur 6. It's a fighting game. I think I've put 30 something hours into it, just doing all the story component stuff. So. Yeah, I definitely don't rush to the detriment of my enjoyment of a game, which is why I have so many unplayed games. It's because when I play a game, I play it like it's the only one I got, like it's my only rental for the weekend. So that's how I approach games. I'm all in on a game until I'm done it, and then when I'm done it, I got to be done it, or else I'll just keep going.
Sure.
Just like Skyrim, when I got it, I was so into it. When I beat it, I had to give it to my brother so I didn't just keep going. Just not play this. And he's like, all right, happily. And then when the DLCs came out, give it back. All right, take this. But,
excellent.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm pretty devoted to games.
Cool. So Tom, you had some history. Did you play it when it was originally released, or what's your background with Final Fantasy VII?
Yes, I did. So, I mean, I loved the Super Nintendo because of all of the RPGs on it, especially anything from Squaresoft. And Final Fantasy VII was the reason I got a PS1. And me and a friend of mine, actually, we used to play the game together. Kind of like you were talking about earlier, Jason, about, some games aren't always the most fun to watch. We didn't necessarily have that problem because we would always pool our money and buy the strategy guide with the game. And one person would kind of be like the navigator. And, you wouldn't spoil it. It was more of maybe at that fork of the road, go left instead. You wouldn't tell them why, but it's like, go left, get the treasure chest, then you can move on for the story bit.
Perfect.
So, yeah, played it when it first came out and everything. The fact that we had to pull our money together to buy a PlayStation and then basically share it and the game is probably nothing short of miraculous that we, didn't claw each other in a fiery ring of death or anything.
Yeah,
but we shared.
That's a testament to a good friendship. Holy man.
Yeah.
Of course, we had a little bit of a rivalry to see who could get further in the game in the least amount of time. And I was lagging behind by about an hour or so. And honestly, it just bugged me. It ate away at me. Except it worked out in my favor because he was in the Golden Saucer and, you're running the reels and everything for one of the battles. And he fell asleep. So about 6 hours later, he woke up and, you don't want to lose all of that progress from the previous battles.
Right.
So, I came out ahead on that.
Awesome.
Perfect. Awesome. So
mine was mainly watching it be played when it came out. That's what we were talking about earlier. Is that I had a friend who would play these when I go to hang out with him. Play like Final Fantasies or Chrono Trigger or a lot of turn-based RPGs, and I just watched them for hours, and then he'd be like, "Oh yeah, you want to do something?" After like a couple hours, so it turned me off of turn-based RPGs pretty much till I got back into collecting. Then I gave him a chance and have a big feeling of missing out all these years.
Well, I will say, Tom keeps showing me like screenshots or little tiny videos from the original game versus this game, and I'm definitely enjoying the fact that this is my first experience with Final Fantasy because it's a lot prettier to look at, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It is.
I wasn't a fan of.
but you know, it's very much more enjoyable with voice acting and all that other stuff. So
Yeah, first watching my friend play it because in the commercials and stuff, and anything I'd seen was all the beautiful full motion video that was in this game, and then we just go back to these triangles.
Well, I think it gets a little harsher criticism than it deserves. So, as I just last time I mentioned I wanted to replay the Midgar section of original Final Fantasy VII just so I was like super fresh. So I did that. Actually, I started the night that I did the unboxing video for the remake, and I finished the next day. The morning, I pretty much played it all night. Took me 6.5 hours to get to the end of Midgar. And yeah, I mean, the characters, when you're running around the maps, they look a little chunky, but in the battles, they look pretty good. You know, it's more smoothed out. In the cutscenes, they still look pretty decent.
Yeah, walking around is what bugged me.
But the one thing I really liked about Final Fantasy VII was the matte paintings, like all the scenery were basically just static images. So they got some pretty good detail, even for a game released in '97 for some of the more scenic areas. But you know, it was a 1997 game, so
yeah,
it's a little dated. But Final Fantasy VII, one of my favorite games of all time. Had a blast replaying the Midgar section and getting a really fresh, a good refresher on that before going to the remake was really interesting because pretty much every single thing that's in Final Fantasy VII Original is in the remake in some way, shape, or form. And that, like, the first few hours I was playing, like, I was so blown away because everything is so expanded. You know, what would take you like a half an hour in the original game is like 2 hours, maybe longer, depending on the section in the remake. And just every little detail's there. Like in the bombing mission, you know, like the computer console, like just nothing you'd even really think about. Nope, it's there. We got to hit the same buttons at the same time in the second bombing mission. Like little things like in Sector 5 slums, there's a light in the original. It was just a random light that had moths. That made it into this. It's like their attention to detail is just when they say this is a love, like when something's a love letter to something, like this is like a dictionary definition of that.
Hell yeah. Well, they took the time to do it, so it's good. But they didn't rush it out. They didn't just get it out to shut people up. They took their time and they did it right.
So how do you all feel about kind of like the transition from the original to this? Like, what are your overall thoughts without like being too specific in like story or?
Just for me to generalize it, I think that, like you said, the love letter presentation that they have to the original, the way they've stayed so true to it, but then the way that they have expanded on so many things, for one, it really fleshes the world out. As you were saying, certain areas may only take you half an hour of the original, but having that additional time with it now, it really matters more. the people that you're interacting with, the place that you're in. It's not just, hey, here's a set piece, you're in this town for a little bit, and now you're in this next area. This feels more interactive when you're actually in one of the slums. You know, you feel more for the people that are there. It means something when you're actually taking on these side quests and helping the people out. And because of that, and the way the game is presented with that very cinematic flair to it and kind of light action gameplay, it feels like this is the best possible way to bring back to life such a classic story, you know, to really modernize it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's going back to what I was saying about like actually being interested in doing these side quests. Like you want to do them. You're not just like being dragged into doing them. Like, oh, I got to do this for some XP or for this, you know, I need more money, whatever. Like you're actually doing it because it's something fun to do, which I find a lot of games kind of pad out their gameplay by just throwing in a bunch of crap it forces you to do to just make it so you're not just completely blasting through the game. But
on that note, something that's fun that I've noticed a few times over is when you get to those moments where it does feel like, okay, this does feel like it's a little padded out. The response that you get from Cloud generally, it speaks to you as the player. It's like, oh, he feels the same way that I do. You know, this is
and like not all of these, like the side missions are significant things, but they all just breathe more life into this world. They make, you know, some of the monotonous day-to-day life in these, you know, under city slums seem like it's a real place, which was, there's a stark difference from the original. The original, sure, there were some people you could talk to in some of these areas, but it was few and far between, where this one, you just walk down a street and as you walk by people, like every single person you walk by has something, whether they're talking to somebody that they're standing next to or they're commenting on Cloud. Like there's a couple times where guys like, holy, wow, that's a really big sword. And just, it's so alive and,
so good. It's so much more immersive, and the world feels alive, and you feel like you're in it. And that's my favorite feeling in gaming, when you are so into a game. It's like you're just part of a movie. Like you feel like you're there. And I don't feel like, I love video games, but I don't feel that as much as I would like to in games. There's only a select few games that can really draw me in that much. I can get immersed, but feeling like it's my story is kind of a rare feeling, rather than just, all right, it's my turn to shoot stuff now, okay, or whatever.
Yeah. And I love like everything is just so much more depth, like to the characters, to the events. Everything is, like for the first bombing mission, the very opening segment of Final Fantasy VII. Like before, you're basically you just ran to the reactor and blew it up. There's a couple little exchanges where this, like, it's made so much more. So there's a lot more conversations. It fleshes out the characters more. You know, Avalanche themselves, the group, I think is just made so much more significant. Where before it was very light. I know, kind of going in circles here, but it almost feels like the original is the Cliff Notes version, which I'm not taking away from the original because I still love that game, but that's how it feels now after playing through Remake. 6.5 hours for the original is what it took me to get through Midgar, and for this one it was 43 hours.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
Exactly.
And the things that they expand on,
are meaningful. Like it's not just, like I said, when we're saying padding, like everything I've done so far, it just feels organic to what's going on. And it like I say, the way it transfers in between parts you control and the cutscenes are pretty seamless, so it just feels like an ongoing story, not just like an abrupt, oh, I got to go do this thing now. So that's what I've been loving about it. On that, what playstyle did you guys prefer? Classic or the new style, like the action RPG style?
Well, that is one of my, and when I say complaint, that's a strong word. I do prefer the turn-based style of the original, in all honesty. I think the action style is fun. I would still prefer, I wish the classic style was kind of like what Dragon Quest XI did, where you have the new style where you can run around the play area and fight, or you can switch it on the classic style, and then it's turn-based, and they'll switch up the camera angles when your characters are attacking. I kind of wish that's what classic mode was, but classic mode basically just instead of just the AI controlling your support characters, it can control your main character as well, or you can just take over and you can focus more on using like the abilities and whatnot. I tried that. It felt a little too hands off for me, so I just went back to the normal mode. And after some hours, it took some hours to really kind of figure out how to control everything and deal with the enemies properly and switch between characters and make use of their abilities. It took me some time. Like, it's still not my ideal playstyle, but by the time I finished the game, like I could do it just fine. Felt pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much of a learning curve as some of the other Final Fantasies I've played, so I don't mind it at all. Like it seems pretty intuitive. I haven't tried the classic mode on this one yet, but when I played, I really like the action style. I don't know. It fits in with the cinematic nature of the game. I think I feel,
yeah,
feel more in the moment than
more natural.
Turn-based, yeah, more in the moment, I feel more in control.
What do you think, Tom?
I've really enjoyed the normal mode. It took me a little bit to really grasp the combat of getting the other characters in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even now, I will still kind of lose myself. Like I'll just stick to Cloud, or I'll stick to Tifa, and I'll forget. Oh, maybe I should jump over to Aerith, or jump over to Barrett and get them to do something instead of just like a standard attack. But I do like what Jason's saying too. It really complements the cinematic feel of the story segments.
Yes. Yeah, and it doesn't have that classic JRPG trope of the random encounters. Like all the enemies you encounter, generally you can see them, not necessarily avoid them, but they're already existing, and you can't just run around an area and just and then you're in the battle. So that was kind of like I was wondering how they're going to handle that portion. Especially when it came to like leveling up and trying to like level up materia and stuff like that, but it all works just so seamless. I think my biggest pointers for anybody when it comes to the combat system, block when you can, and use the L2 and R2 to just quick do abilities for your support characters instead of switching over to your other characters and taking control of them and then doing their special abilities, because your support characters are going to be a lot more defensive in general. They'll guard more, dodge a little bit more, but they will never use their abilities on their own, which is kind of a drag.
Yeah, but remember that they don't have a thing where you can control the AI, like
make them more aggressive or something.
Yeah, you can take their playstyle, maybe like aggressive or defensive or support,
but eventually, as you get more acclimated to this playstyle, like it becomes very seamless. Like by the end of the game, like pretty much all my characters are constantly doing their special moves and switching to people at certain situations to get up their ATB gauge so they can cast their specials. Like it becomes pretty seamless after a while. It's not a learning curve is unique for this game.
Yeah, been loving it so far, and I haven't found anything too cumbersome. I don't think I have a single complaint, and I'm about 6.
How do you guys How do you guys feel about all of the voice acting so far?
Oh, spectacular. I think it's great. All the characters' voices, like, really just, it's the voice that I imagined for them.
The only one I can think of that I've run into is the kid that wants you to put the assess materia in your weapon for a near fight. His voice didn't seem like it fit who he was, but everybody else seems like spot on. That was the only one that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, some of the, I guess a few of the rando NPCs. Like, there was the one time where there was, like, it was supposed to be more of an elderly character, and she sounded like 40 years younger than what she looked. But for the main characters, anyways, like, I think they're all, like, spot on, and they're all, like, a lot of these are recognized voices I recognize. Like, John DiMaggio is in the game, and Kira Buckland, like, just great voice acting.
Did you see the one of the girl who does Aerith's voice? I retweeted it on Twitter. She's also a streamer, and she was streaming the game, and it showed the part where you run into Aerith and she talks for the first time.
I've pretty much. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's all I had. I loved her reaction to that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I haven't watched any videos or anything on 7 yet because I was staying away from everything. But now, pretty much for the next, like, 2 days, that's probably all I'm going to do is check out
that video. And it's pretty cool. It's kind of a unique thing. You don't get to see that very often, as someone, running into their own work in a game or, watching a movie and stuff like that. The only other time I can think of someone reacting to something was that time Shia LaBeouf watched all his movies in a row.
Nice. So let's see. Laci already kind of touched on some of the visuals. This is a beautiful, beautiful game.
Absolutely. One of the best looking games. It's one of those things where I can feel justified in buying a PS4 Pro and having, I'm not much of a resolution guy, but that's why I tried to hook this up to the biggest TV in my house, because I wanted to behold it in all its glory. But in the game room, I've got an awesome TV in here too. It's just not as big because then it would cover more shelves the bigger it got.
Yeah, the sheer amount of detail, like they pull out all the stops. I can't imagine what development like this was, because we all hear about development hell, and
this must have been absolutely hell.
Like, and no matter where you look, it's just scenery. Like looking up at the plate, looking up at the upper level of Midgar, like from the slums, it's just astonishing. We had a okay idea of how things looked in the original game, but this just, my God. Like, every time I walk into an area, it's just like, okay, I'm going to spend 2-3 minutes just spinning the camera around, looking up, looking down.
Chewing the scenery.
Oh, man.
It makes the original feel like a claymation maquette of what this is, because it's so, like, perfectly realized now with technology like it is. I don't know. I'm just, like, astonished by everything I've done so far in this.
Well, it's almost perfect. I mean, Cloud is missing his Popeye arms from the original. And that's what people really wanted.
Right. Yeah.
At least they didn't charge you DLC for it. Popeye Arms DLC.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how he wields that giant sword with one hand with his little tiny arms that he has.
Oh,
it just doesn't seem right.
He's just one big muscle.
I can vouch for skinny guys being able to carry heavy things. It surprise you sometimes. Maybe it's aluminum. Maybe it's not actually that impressive. No one ever says that looks like a heavy sword. Then they just say, "Oh, that's a big sword."
Well, I've picked up metal replicas of that sword at conventions, and I can't pick it up.
Well, the one pass I usually give when that discussion comes up is he's a supercharged super soldier, basically, because he's soldier, so he's infused with Mako, which is like basically the essence of the magic and the planet. So he's like, he's like a super soldier. So I kind of give him a pass on that.
And
So he's super strong, but don't let him take a drug test or anything.
Right.
he might lose any of his records, like his dart record. If you put darts enough to get him into the top spot, he might get bumped down a few.
Just tell him you had a poppy seed muffin that morning.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he
I
also.
swear.
We also shouldn't discount the weightlifter's belt that he wears.
Yes.
Helps bolster him some too.
Well, and he can do some squats like you wouldn't believe.
That is.
What a leg's got to do with? I think that's more of a push-up thing.
You'll get there. Yeah.
What a real man can do.
Yes. I can do a few squats, but not like what they're pulling off in this game. That's for sure. I think
his practice.
I think the only other aspect we haven't really touched on yet, it would be the soundtrack.
Oh, awful!
The music
They should have tried harder.
So so on the Square Enix store right now, they currently have a complete soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's 7 discs.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
There is so much music in this game. It's crazy because they have like the main soundtrack that you play or that you hear while you're playing through the game. The area music, the battle music, character themes, things like that. Then you also have this like radio, the jukeboxes. There's like an entire jukebox soundtrack as well, and other little like weird like quirky versions of songs,
remixes and stuff.
Like you hear pretty much all the original songs in different versions. They pull in a ton of music from later in the game that's not even parts that aren't in this game. Like we hear themes from other areas like Wu Tai and Golden Saucer and Chocobo themes. And
well, they're probably fielding it all and they can agree on one version because they're always going to complain. So they're like, suck it. There's 4 versions of this. Like one of them, or we give up. Honestly,
yeah. That at first it was one of the bigger hurdles for me because video game music to me is very significant, especially more retro sounding stuff. I'm not as much into the orchestral soundtracks as some people are. Like I like my midis. I like my chip tunes, and Final Fantasy VII especially was a soundtrack I used to listen to a ton. Like when I'd play some of these like time sync PC games like Neverwinter Nights or even like Diablo 2, I'd listen to some of those classic soundtracks. So Final Fantasy VII is one that I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of times. Absolutely loved the music, and I was worried that it was all just going to be orchestral arrangements. And I've heard some of it before with like the Distance World concerts, that the traveling Final Fantasy orchestra, and it's cool. But like especially with some of Final Fantasy VII's music, some of it's very industrial or electronic, or even like the battle theme. I was hoping that we'd get like a full on like metal battle theme, which there are some times when we do.
It sounds like this is gonna be like a gent version of John.
Well, they give you different styles, so they really hit it on all. But it's a nice blend. Like at first, I was kind of like like with the bombing run, the change. But then as I kind of like gave it a chance and started hearing more and more of the music, I was like, they did a fantastic job, just like everything else in this game.
They really did. They did what a cover of a song is supposed to be. It's supposed to add something or don't bother, which is basically covering or remaking anything. Add something to it or don't really bother because no one's going to like it that way, when someone does when someone replaces someone I don't know, say when Zach Wilde replaced, became the guitar player in Ozzy, when he's playing Randy Rhoads solos, he plays the solos exactly, then he adds his own stuff onto it. So it's appreciating the original while also adding to it. And that's what I like from any kind of music, to you can take your own spin on it, but add something to it. Don't just copy. 100%, put a decent spin on it, not a insulting spin on something.
Yes. How'd you feel about Tom?
Oh, I've been loving the music, and I really love the remixes to some of the classic themes too. I mean, when you start hearing Tifa's theme in a different style that fits what's going on for the action on screen, I love that. I love that they took it that extra step. They could have used a different piece of music. They could have composed a new piece. They could have just reused her theme and just slapped it in there. But it feels like the care that they put into the rest of the game, as far as the visuals and as far as tweaking the storyline and fleshing everything out, I'm really glad to see that they didn't drop the ball with the music. They went full bore with this whole game.
Yeah, it's amazing. They've done with Final Fantasy VII what Capcom did with Resident Evil 2. Just knocked it out of the park.
Even way more so, just because how much they added to it.
Well, to be fair, if Resident Evil 2 became a 50-hour game, I'd probably be kind of annoyed. Be
Well, it depends what they did with it.
Yeah. If
they did it on the level of what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake, bring it on. I think as far as story beats and stuff, maybe we'll save that for the next episode, give you more of a chance to play some of the game. Then we can kind of talk about some spoiler stuff, story changes.
It'll be done.
Yes.
To jump back to the music, one thing that I was having a kick with was how they would insert, is it the Final Fantasy fanfare?
Yes.
Where
yes.
Barrett would a little bit, or it was a ringtone at one point for somebody.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of clever.
Yeah, lots of little things. There's one part, some people might not even catch it, but there's a conversation when Cloud and Tifa are just having a conversation, and she just casually stretches, and I was like, she just did, unrelated to battle, but she just did her victory, whatever you want to call it, victory celebration or moves, just and they didn't draw attention to it. It was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then everything, because one thing with battles is you finish up the battle and then you just carry on. You don't get the victory fanfare, but there will be times where they add it in, but it has purpose, and it's great. It's great.
I like seeing on the walls, the children's drawings of a Moogle or a Chocobo or something.
Yes. Absolutely.
I was going to add that 7-disc collection better have Barrett's victory fanfare on there. If it's not on there, I'll put it right back.
That's a fair question. That'd be great to include that.
Have you guys seen the final soundtrack they have for this?
Yeah. Yes.
The game turns into the Buster Sword.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought about it, but since I have a record player, I only have a few vinyls. I was like, I'm still kind of sticking with CDs for the most part. I do intend to buy the 7-disc soundtrack. It's pretty pricey, but at this point, I'm pretty much sold on Final Fantasy VII merchandise. I'm really eyeballing the other Play Arts figures that they got. They have Tifa and Aerith and Barrett. I don't know if I'll get all three, but I'll definitely get one.
Aren't they $250 each or something?
$130 each.
$130. Okay, well, let me know, and I'll throw money at you for the other three then. $130 sounds very, very doable.
Now, if you get those, I mean, I can live vicariously through you, box them and show them off.
Yes. See, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a service.
I really need a glass case. God damn it! They need to order so I can go to IKEA because I need IKEA shelves. Like holy shit!
Yeah, god dang, COVID-19 disrupting my game displaying. I like pretty much as soon as it went down it was when I got my Code Vein collector's edition that I ordered, and I have no place to put it right now. It's like I need another display case and I can't get it. Yeah, this is first world problems.
Everything's showing up as it should. Now I've got a giant helmet that I don't know where to put it. It's staying in the box. Now I got Cloud and the bike, and my kids were like, "Ooh," and I was like, "Dude, dude." So yeah, I need the glass case immediately. Actually, I need I think I'm buying when I get there. I'm probably gonna buy 4 of them because I just
might as well stock up.
I mean, I've got enough things that need to go in cases that I'm pretty sure I can fill them. Having them is another thing, but.
So, any final thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake before we move on?
Just with as much as they fleshed it out, I'm very curious how many parts we're going to get. I'm really excited and worried for that.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, like I said, 6.5 hours to get through Midgar originally compared to 43 or so now. And you still have, the rest of the original game was probably another maybe 50 hours or 60 hours. So, are we going to see 8 times as long? I hope they keep this same level of quality and this level of expansion. But yeah, wow, what's this going to turn into by the time it's done?
Yeah,
how long is it going to take us to get the rest of it?
Yeah, that too.
Now that they've got the engine developed and they've got a lot of the assets, hopefully the bulk of the work is done. They just need to, do the design for the different areas, stuff like that. Hopefully it won't take long. I'm not a game developer. Might just be talking out my head.
How are they going to do some of these different sections, like the overworld, or exploring the ocean and dealing with the ultimate weapons and stuff? How are they going to do all that? I'm so excited, and I'm just with how this turned out. My hopes are really, really high.
Yeah, I'm hoping it stays on. I'm fine with waiting as long as it matches this quality or outdoes it. Dare I say?
Yeah.
Well, the other question is it going to be another $60 to $80 game again, or is it going to be a little less because this is the continuation of it?
That one I'm almost certain every game is going to be $60.
Yeah.
Which some people are definitely not happy about that. One of my good friends, he's pretty much right now, he's still refusing to play the game until it's all out. But
people are doing that,
and that's fair. Sure. But for what you get, I honestly can't complain. And I'm goofy I buy overpriced collector's editions to begin with, so I have no respect for my money.
This being the most overpriced thing I've.
Holy crap!
What actually my only complaint about that is they do what I know is one of your least favorite things with the collector's edition, where it's not all in the box together.
Yes.
Basically got the figure, and then you got the deluxe edition technically in a box with it, but not in a collector's edition box.
Yes.
So that bugged me. Is it thunder?
Yeah.
Was that thunder?
Yeah, it's storming over here where we are.
Oh, wow.
Really? It actually was.
Careful what you say about collector's boxes. Anger the old guy.
Okay. All right. So I think we've talked a lot of Final Fantasy. There's another pretty big release. Even though Jason and I aren't much into this, a lot of my friends are. A lot of people are talking about it. Jason even muted it on Twitter because I got sick of hearing about it. And that is Animal Crossing New Horizon. And I thought that was like perfect because I saw Tom, like, you're excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Laci, you're excited for Animal Crossing. So how was Animal Crossing?
Yes, definitely. It's been so much fun. I have spent so many hours since it came out, the day it came out, playing it. And, oh my gosh. Just the difference from this game from all the previous games is so amazing.
So have you been following the series for a long time?
Yes, I've been there from the American beginning on the GameCube.
Oh, awesome.
Sweet. I have all of them except for the Happy Home Designer or whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't count. It's okay.
An Amiibo Festival doesn't count either, but I do have that.
We don't talk about that one.
It's Mario Shardy.
I think that's the only Animal Crossing game I have is Amiibo Festival because I got it from Jason. Nothing against the series. It's just some of the older ones, they tend to be a little bit more pricey, aren't they?
Now they are,
Yeah,
yes.
they are now, yeah.
Especially now. Well, honestly, with quarantine, anything that's good is...
Yeah.
Every game's going up. I was talking to our friend John from the Game Deflators. He recently got a massive, awesome score of games.
Holy cow, what a score, by the way.
He was telling me about how he was just offloading a couple of the doubles games he already had and just the prices they were going for. He's like, I put it for cheaper, but people bid it up. So I'm like, what? That's like a $20 game. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Someone bought it for $60. I was like, Jesus.
Wow.
So now is not the time to maybe jump on some of the older games that you've been wanting for a while because, they're really banking on everyone being home a lot and being really desperate for a new game.
So what separates New Horizon from previous Animal Crossing games?
Well, the first and foremost thing that comes to my mind is the fact that you can actually decorate outside. You could never do that before. You could never put decorations outside. Everything had to go inside your own house. And the thing is, they would always make like outdoor furniture and outdoor things, but they had to go inside your house. So it never made any sense. But now you can put them outside of your house, outside all over the island. And that's, to me, is the biggest thing that they've done so far.
It really makes the game as a whole a lot more interactive because of that. Because in all of the previous installments, when you could only put stuff in your house, the rest of the town, the island, the city, whatever you were in, it was kind of pointless. You know, you would shake this tree, you would dig this hole, but you really didn't do anything else. So this opens it up a lot more.
Well, in all the other games before, because there was always a town or a village, they all looked exactly the same. I mean, there was a little bit of configuration difference, but everything was pretty much a carbon copy. And now that you can make your own cliffs and waterfalls and water features and decorate different ways, everybody's island looks completely different and nothing looks the same.
That's cool.
That customization adds so much fun to any type of game. When you can make yourself in a game, even just that, most games it's like amazing. Which is if you listen to the last episode, you know my disdain for the Soul Calibur 6 character.
No beards.
No, there's no beards unless you picked a face that already had a beard. So, yeah.
Bummer.
Rest of the game, great. That part. Ooh.
So I've been seeing that there is also some online functionality. You can have people come to your island and work on things on your island. Is that new to the series?
No, they've had before where you could go visit other people's villages, but it was never as seamless as this one is. This one seems a lot better with the whole online or social aspect of the games because you can download the Nintendo Switch app and do voice chat when your friends come to your island or when you go to their island. So you can, like, there's been times that we've literally had people over and we've sat around the island and our characters aren't doing anything, but we're chatting and talking with each other. So I think this game came out at the perfect time because you can't go anywhere right now, but
Right.
game, you can go somewhere. You can go visit a friend's house and So I think that's why this game, on top of being a good game, has done really well.
So maybe Japan released the coronavirus, not China.
You know, funny thing is, that's what I was saying when this first came out. I was like, it seems like a conspiracy here, because all of a sudden this game comes out where you travel, but in the real world you can't travel. So what's going on, guys?
That's why Nintendo's been building all this goodwill and acting like the good guy all these years, so no one would ever suspect them.
Sure. So the going to join other people's islands, can you only join people you're friends with, or can you join like strangers' islands, and how does that work? Or does
You can go to your friends' islands. You can go to random strangers' islands because there's a thing called a dodo code, and you can go to the airport and request a dodo code, and then either, you know, a lot of people are putting them on either Reddit or Twitter or Facebook groups and say, hey, you can come to my island. I've got this for sale today or whatever.
awesome?
Type in a dodo code and go to somebody you've never met before, or hang out with your own friends. So, I mean, it is
Sweet.
very cool.
My favorite thing I've seen about this game was someone decorating the outside ground with just random Kanye tweets. I don't remember who did it, but it was hilarious.
I've seen some really interesting things being designed. I've seen some disturbing things being designed. I'd imagine some of the stuff doesn't stay up long. I'd imagine Nintendo's probably overseeing
Oh yeah,
some of what's being uploaded.
Well, at least they've got experience in it with all the Mario makers and people.
Yeah.
Yes.
The levels and stuff like that.
The one thing I don't really understand is, what's the deal with the tarantulas?
You want to talk about tarantulas?
Well, I guess the big draw is that they're a high selling item, so it's a good money maker.
Okay.
There are different ways that you can kind of scale the way that they pop up a little more in your favor, so you can catch a lot more. But
it's a good challenge because they're hard to catch.
yeah, they also run up on you and bite you, and you wake up at your house. You know, someone drug you there apparently. Maybe in a brightly colored sweater, saying a lot of nonsensical words or something.
Yeah, I've seen lots of videos. Like there's a Twitter account that I follow that's Perfectly Cut Screams.
Oh, I love that. Me too.
And they had a couple of those where like a person was running around trying to catch a tarantula, or they're running from it, and then like they finally like get up the nerve to like catch it, and then all of a sudden one comes out like nowhere, and then that's when they scream and it cuts. It's just like
Because all I hear is that. And it cuts. I love those.
it's such a bizarre account, but I enjoy those videos so much.
Every one of them. I don't think I've seen one where I'm like, oh, as the others.
Awesome. So Animal Crossing New Horizons seems like they did a lot of things right. I haven't really seen any complaints about it.
No, basically, this game feels like one of those games where people had issues or complaints or requests or demands, and Nintendo listened. This is the first game that I've played in a long time that feels like they listened to every single thing we said, and they said, okay, here you go. You can have it.
Awesome. That's great. It's great to hear these games with so much hype behind them are delivering. That's always a good feeling. I like games to be successful. I want every game to come out to be great and make people happy. And with all this negativity and pandemics going around, I guess it's nice to have some good quality games coming out.
And there's more than one? Just a plural pandemic.
Well, pandemic.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't speak so good. Well, they are saying it's mutating, so.
Well,
that's every virus. So. You know, we're going to have some weird zombies running around after a while.
Yes.
So.
we already do
Fingers crossed.
protests with everyone refusing to blocking hospitals and stuff. Too. Might as well treat them like zombies.
Sure. So any final thoughts on Animal Crossing?
I think that if you ever liked any of the games before, this is pretty much the ultimate version of the game that you can get. You know, it really answers a lot of the wants that you would have wanted from the series. If you weren't a fan before, this probably isn't going to draw you in. But I will say it is a nice, very chill game. It's perfect to come home to after work and maybe just sit down, kind of decompress for about 30 minutes and just not really do anything. It's like I'm playing a game, but all I'm doing is fishing. I'm hitting this rock or whatever. I'm talking to this pig who wants to give me his shirt, but okay, that's fine.
And not bullying ugly people into leaving your island.
Well,
that's a big,
there's this in my town that's got it coming. All right,
it's a nice game because it doesn't matter what stressors are going on in your life, whether it's work or children or spouses or viruses or whatever. You can lose yourself in it and just totally mellow out and relax, and you don't have the stress of like some fighting games or anything like that, or some games are fun to play, but they're really stressful because you're really working hard at it. This one is just easy to just kind of chill and lose yourself, and that's what I like about it.
It's good to know that no matter how bad your boss or your landlord or anything is, too, no one's as much of a dick as Tom Nook.
Oh, that is
like, at least they're not Tom Nook.
He is definitely a ruthless landlord.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the community question part of the podcast here. So last time we asked, what games are you getting, or what games are getting you through this quarantine? And we got a couple responses. So Matt Wheaton says these are the games that are getting him through the quarantine: Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Einhander.
Oh, nice.
Excellent, underrated, kind of almost forgotten about shoot 'em up for the PS1.
I want it still.
Yes. Radiant Silvergun.
Another one.
Yep. Legends of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel.
I still got to get back to that.
And Xenogears, which is, if you know Matt Wheaton, you know that's his favorite game. That's a great game, Xenogears. That's a game I would love to see a remake for as well.
Yeah, more than a sequel, I'd like to see a remake of that, I think. All the Xeno games coming out. They're really good in the first.
Yeah, and that's the one that could really... I personally, I think the original Xenogears still looks great, but could be enhanced so much.
Well, yeah, it's from like the awkward beginnings of 3D. No matter how amazing it is, it's still, there's still so much benefit that could come from today's technology, I think. If done right and with care, we've seen proof positive that can happen. So let's hope someday we get Xenogears.
Yes. Then Black Metal Gamer says, he said Quarantini drinks while he's playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You beat that, but he got all the DLC on PSN for $20.
Oh, okay. He's been on that one for a while.
Yeah. It's Greek Breath of the Wild, basically meets The Witcher and Far Cry. And it says best Assassin's Creed game you played.
Good combo. I've got about 6 other Assassin's Creed games to get through to get to that, but I have every Assassin's Creed game, so
they stack up quick.
Yeah, that is a robust series.
Yeah, I've mentioned a few times how I intended to blast through a bunch of them when 3 was coming out, and I got through the first 2 and 3/4 of Brotherhood, and I just got so burned out that I've never gone back. And I know it was some of the later games look really cool to me. I played a bit of Black Flag, but that's about all I've really even tried. But I'm one of those, I want to play the games before it, even if they don't necessarily need to be played. I'm just like that.
Yeah. Black Metal Gamer also said that he said Doom Eternal, the 2020 GOAT, Resident Evil 3, the horror GOAT that haters want to hate, and he doesn't know why. Play on a harder mode and witness the struggles of survival. And then he also says he got Final Fantasy VII later and ready to play on his hard drive, and some Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Cool.
So lots of games being played for a lot of people.
Well, someone asked something similar to that too, and I answered with like all the games that I've beaten since this thing started. I've played more, but I've beaten quite a few during this. Not that I'm getting to stay home anymore, but everyone else being home more means I actually get to game a bit more, so that's good.
Yeah. So then, spur of the moment, I thought it was fitting with our discussion of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Animal Crossing New Horizon to ask the community, are you playing Final Fantasy VII Remake or Animal Crossing New Horizon? And if you are, what are your thoughts? Because they're fun to talk about. So then let's talk about what we've been up to besides Final Fantasy VII and Animal Crossing New Horizon. So Tom and Laci, what have you been up to? Have you been playing other games? Any new videos you want to mention?
Well,
what you been up to?
Unfortunately, not any other games, just because of the lack of time. We're both, yay, essentials. So we are still working, but when we're not playing Animal Crossing or Final Fantasy, we have been working on some videos. We had a fun little project. It was a promo piece video that we had done for a cosplayer we'd gotten to know. He's a master builder. And I'd like to just bring it up because Laci really pushed me to work on this, and it was a video that really took me out of my comfort zone, but I'm glad that she pushed me to work on this because hopefully I learned something from it and it might make our future videos a little better. But I feel like it's one of those things that really helps the wheelhouse of the variety of videos that we put out. And since we don't have a lot of event coverage to come up because nothing's happening, we are kind of looking into what other things that we can do that might kind of shake things up. We've got a couple of collabs that we're getting into gear finally. They're a little long overdue, but because of the lack of events, we can finally focus on those now.
Sure.
Perfect. I've been trying to get into doing videos again myself, but it seems to be the eternal struggle with me making videos about games or actually getting to play games.
Yes.
Yeah, that is kind of the problem when you're a gamer and then you decide to be a YouTube personality. You realize you're talking about games more than you actually get to do the games because you spend all your time making the videos about the games.
Exactly. It's so bunk. And then I'm lucky enough to get some time to play games a lot of the time. To get to come down to the actual game room is another struggle in and of itself, and that's also where I work on my videos. So I've got a bunch filmed that just need to be edited together, and it just never seems to happen because these cool games just keep coming out.
Yeah, it's the eternal struggle. Jason, what have you been up to besides Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, just a little this, a little that. The Super Enabler Bros episode 3 came out just after the last episode, and like it. They're getting longer, but I think it's because with quarantine, we don't get to talk about games as much, so we
got a lot to say.
Chris and I had a lot to say about games and movies and other stuff we collect. But I've gotten to beat a few games, some pretty notable ones. One of, if not my favorite game of all time, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which is the Cartridge Club Game of the Month.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Why the hell not? I'm going to go through it. I'm not one who revisits and actually plays through an entire game over again very often, but this is, like I said, one of my favorite games ever, so I felt the need to go through it. I think this is only the third time I've completely finished it. I've gotten really far in it a bunch of times. When I got back into collecting, it's one of those games I can't put down when I start playing it. And then, happy to finish that again. Also play along with Prime, so that's something fun to do. Check out Cartridge Club if you haven't already.
Yes, definitely do that.
Fun community to be part of. I'm actively trying to be more active in the club myself to play along with more of the games this year. If there are games I've never played and I own, I'm going to try and tackle those. If there are games that I have played, maybe if I have an alternate version, like I almost went through the Master Quest this time to kind of switch it up, but I decided against it. I just wanted to play my original on 64, even though I have it on I have every version of it there is, the 3DS, the multiple GameCube ones. I have the Master Quest Repro cart for N64. I have the Japanese cart for N64. I was actually more tempted to do that than Master Quest, just try and go through the Japanese version, see if I could do it and know what the hell I was supposed to do. But I decided, no, I'd probably get stuck and really annoyed, probably really late game, and be like, I don't feel like looking up a walkthrough and just lose steam and, quit. So, yeah, I just went with the OG and did it proper. It was fun. Then the only other game I've beaten since the last episode was Soul Calibur 6. And being a fighting game, you'd think, oh, yeah, no, 4 or 5 hours, you probably tackled what there is to do. But there's actually 2 different story modes in this game. There's a episodic one that's tied to each character, so what's going on with each character around this time. I did that last, but it's pretty fun. It's basically kind of like arcade mode would be in other games. You just go through little cutscenes or little things where your avatars talk. Honestly, after a while, I kind of lost interest in that. I was just like, let me fight. So I skipped through a bunch of that kind of crap. And then the main thing, which is called the Soul something, because, Soul Calibur. It's like, it felt like I was playing a strategy RPG where you would go to different parts on the map and it would select, it would show there's a battle here. There's a part where you could explore near an area and find a battle there, and you'd get different prizes. There's different difficulties to it. It felt basically like a strategy RPG, but instead of going into the battles like a strategy RPG, you just go into a fight, and they add different modifiers to each fight. Some of them are really, really annoying. Some of them are not too bad. Some of them are you can't do soul criticals or whatever the hell they're called. Basically the finishing moves or soul charges. And other ones are the arena is really slippery, so you could just ring out, no problem, just trying to dodge something. So those are a little bit annoying. But then there's also ones where you had to do a specific kind of move to be able to do. You could have their health down to nothing, but you couldn't win unless you did a certain thing. So yeah, different degrees of difficulty, but it was a lot of fun for the most part. But it was very late on actual cutscenes until close to the end, so that got a little tiresome. And yeah, after a while, just like I did in the other one, I just was skipping through this stuff as fast as I could just to get to another fight because I feel myself starting to fall asleep. But yeah, pretty interesting, pretty fun. And right before I started Final Fantasy VII, I checked out another game that I picked up not too long ago called Remnant from the Ashes.
Oh yeah,
which is I'd say it's kind of like a survival horror take on a looter shooter. I've heard people say it's like Destiny or The Division, and I'd say it's more Division feeling, but you can actually do it on your own. There's so far from when I played probably about 6 hours of it. It's doable on your own. It's definitely more challenging. It's pretty tough in some areas, but it's doable alone. Whereas what got me to stop playing at least the first Division when I played it was very obviously trying to make you team up with other people to play it, which is immediately where I dropped it because I was like, I don't know anyone playing it, and I don't feel like playing with randoms. So that was the end of that. Whereas this one, I'm like, I feel like I could keep going. It's just more challenge. And just like any other game that's got a slight challenge of it, they're like, oh, it's like the shooter Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Kinda, not really though.
Yeah.
I would say like horror version of The Division is probably the closest comparison I can make. I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you haven't checked it out, definitely look into it. I didn't get the same feeling I get from those other looter shooter type games, but it's definitely one where you have to keep on your upgrades or you will get smoked. I like the world that they've created in it and everything. At first I was like, what the heck is this? But after playing a few hours, it really comes into its own, and check it out.
Cool.
It's really fun to play in co-op though, I've got to say. You can set your game to be like private, friends only can join, or like public. And I had a couple people pop in and it was pretty fun. I didn't even have a headset though, so I was probably like annoying to them. Because they're probably like, oh, so what's up, man? And I got my Xbox set to the mics only play through the headset or not at all. So I could see the microphone that they were saying something. I was like, I don't hear you, dude. Let's just play the game. So I probably no idea when they join my game, but in future, if I'm playing more, I'll probably check it out with a headset and even see if I could round up a few buddies. Because I think you can play up to, I think it's 4 people. I've never had more than 2 others at a time, and that was very brief. But so I know you can play at least 3. But I think I read on the back that it was 4. So definitely maybe get some buddies together and check it out.
Nice. So for me, it's just been Final Fantasy VII. Like I said, I replayed Midgar section of original, and I just a few hours ago I completed Final Fantasy VII Remake. Besides that, I put up an unboxing video for the Final Fantasy VII Remake First Class Edition, so if anybody's interested, you can check that out. That's pretty much all I've been doing.
Yeah, I wanted to do unboxing of mine, but getting it how long is it?
Week and a half.
13 days after I actually got it in the mail. I didn't feel like it at the time. And my Doom Eternal thing, it came out like a month and a half ago now?
Yeah.
Month ago? Yeah. A little late to the party on those. But I did, not on video, do a Christmas morning unboxing style thing this morning when my mail came. And it was like, whoa. My kids were super stoked because they just love opening stuff. But I just saw my wife get more and more or less stoked at all the coming in, and there was only a very few things for everybody else. But I try not to let that start from my super excitedness, because I was like, oh my god, look at it, look at the helmet, it looks so cool. Oh my god, look at this statue, oh wow, so cool. Oh, and they're like, what's in here, Dad? More games? Yep, more games. And then, so I gotta treat the kids more. Yeah. I mean, it was just Easter, and I went out of my way for that kind of stuff. So
sure,
I don't feel too bad. They get something every time I end up going to do the quarantine shopping. I always seem to pick up something for them, so I didn't feel too guilty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of new games, we got some new games coming out here too next couple weeks. Yeah, not a ton of notable stuff. A lot of ports. Again, that always seems to be the case, but a few notable games are being released.
Yeah. Speaking of remakes, the Trials of Mana.
Yeah,
coming out on Tuesday after, as of recording this, and also Sakura Wars is coming out for PS4 also.
Trials of Mana I think is actually being released on Friday because I'm getting it Saturday, I believe, delivered on Saturday.
Oh, well, it says the release date was the 28th, so I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyways.
It must be an Amazon VIP, not just Prime.
Oh.
Maybe they just don't care in this crazy world anymore. They'll just.
Well, I'm pretty excited for Trials of Mana, for sure.
Me too, but I'll probably be a while before I get it, because I do not feel like asking someone to check my mail every week. But hopefully eventually. If not by June, when all my Ghostbuster stuff starts showing up, I'll be like, oh, please. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this stuff's over by then, and I don't have to rely on someone else to do that for me.
Yeah. There's also the Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack, which is a collection of the Azure Striker Gunvolt games.
Oh, yeah,
that's pretty neat.
That's finally coming to the PS4 and Xbox, or is it just PS4?
I'm not sure. The list I'm looking at just shows PS4 right now.
Yeah, I wish I looked when I saw it in the store to see if there was a PS4 copy, but I ended up getting the Switch version of that. Mm-hmm. But still cool to have either way.
Yeah. And I think the other notable one is Streets of Rage 4.
Yes.
Ooh, the most excited. I wish the limited run copies are getting sent out on the 20th.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I have to wait. Well, I mean, if you have Game Pass, it's going to be on Game Pass for free.
That's cool. I don't have Game Pass.
Right at launch. I mean, I think I have 3 months of free Game Pass. So I might just redeem one of those just to play Streets of Rage, and then I'll enjoy it again on the PS4 when it shows up. I ain't opposed to double dipping on a game I've been waiting for since I was like 13.
Yeah. Tom, you're looking forward to Streets of Rage 4? That sounds good.
I am, because I'm going to be really excited to play that with Laci. I think that was one that you used to play with your dad, the Streets of Rage series.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
So we both got some history with that one.
Awesome.
Are you picking it up digitally, or are you going to get the limited run physical?
I've got the limited run ordered it, so I'm probably going to just wait for that to come in physically. I mean, we've got like a game or two that we can probably play between now and when it actually shows up.
Sure.
We're hoping.
Yeah, that's kind of the same boat I'm in. I want to get the physical version. I don't mind waiting. I'm excited, but I can wait.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I mean, free Game Pass, I'm probably going to check it out.
Yeah. Do it.
I gotta. I mean, there's been a bunch of games where I'm like, oh, wait, you'll get a physical version, and then limited run does it.
Sure enough.
It's at your house, and then I'm like, don't send it to me. I'll get it when I see it, and then so I got the limited. I got the wait for a physical version, and then I've got the wait for the physical version to come out, and then I got to wait for the lockdown to be gone so I can actually come get the physical version.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not totally averse to waiting, but yeah, I really want to play River City Girls. That's one of the ones I really remember that you have, but don't even remind me of the others because it's get a headache.
Sure. All right. Well, I mean, I guess as you're waiting for those games, we got a couple weeks of gaming coming up here until the next episode of the podcast. So even though you won't be joining us for the next podcast, we always are interested in hearing what you plan on playing for the next couple weeks. So Tom and Laci, I imagine probably more Final Fantasy VII and Animal Crossing.
Definitely. Final Fantasy VII and sinking deeper into Animal Crossing for sure.
Any games on deck next?
So I had actually finally started Far Cry New Dawn right before 7 came out. And I hope to go back to that because I probably shouldn't have started it. I should have known better when stepped around the corner.
I think we got bored because Animal Crossing hadn't come out yet, and Final Fantasy wasn't. It was like a month off, and they'd even pushed it back. So we were like, well, what if they push it back again? Let's go ahead and start a game.
Yeah, it's one of those things where hopefully it doesn't get lost in the shuffle because the game you're more excited about comes out and you just kind of drop it. I'm pretty bad for that myself. The beginning of the year, that was one of my things. I don't really do resolutions, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and finish a bunch of these games that I started for one reason or another. If it was just to check it out for a video or start playing it, and then something shiny came along and I played that instead. And then so that's definitely, it's definitely another one of our first world problems.
Yeah.
We're lost in the shuffle games.
Yeah, for sure. So
What you got going on?
yeah, me, I mean, there's some stuff you can do in Final Fantasy VII. You can like do a chapter select. So if you missed things, you can go back and kind of like pick up some loose ends, and I might do some of that. I'm not necessarily trying to go for like platinum achievement or anything, so I'm not sure. I do think I want to knock out like a short game because I've been playing a few kind of like heftier games.
Beat 'em ups.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe something like that, or maybe the Messenger. I don't know. And of course, I got Yakuza 0 still, so
Yeah.
I got to make some choices here. And then Trials of Mana, I might jump into that. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. That's all I can say. Next couple days is probably just going to be looking up Final Fantasy VII theory videos and stuff. I don't know.
True.
How about you? Besides 7, obviously.
Well, 7 I'll have beat pretty quickly because
By this weekend.
Get down. Yeah, probably by this weekend I'll be here. Well, yeah. When my next day's off, it'll definitely be done. And I'll probably keep going with Remnant. I really enjoyed what I played with it, and see if I can get through that. Hopefully there's not a steep difficulty spike that I find I can't get past and have to wait around for somebody to help me, but we'll see.
Sure.
I've gone through some pretty tough stuff so far, so.
Cool. All right. So then as we kind of close things out, Tom and Laci will let people know how they can get a hold of you, the social medias and YouTubes and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, we are, of course, on YouTube and all the typical social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Of course, people can email us. We are part of our own little boy band. We've got the group, the Retro Refresh, and they have a Discord set up, and we pop in there pretty frequently.
Cool.
So all kinds of ways to talk to us. We do still accept carrier pigeon, but we've nixed smoke signals at this point.
You haven't updated the MySpace in a while, though, I've noticed.
Well, we can't decide on a song for our homepage.
Or the background.
Yeah. Gotta get the right amount of glitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't mess that up.
Perfect. So definitely look them up. If you don't follow them on YouTube, I would highly encourage it. They have a great variety of videos. A lot of fun.
Absolutely.
A lot of positivity, which is always an excellent thing.
Well, thank you.
Then for anybody listening that doesn't know how to get a hold of us, you can look up the Game Tenants Podcast, of course, on YouTube, SoundCloud. If you use podcast apps or Apple Podcasts, you can find us there. If you want to get a hold of what?
All over the place.
Yes, pretty much everywhere. Same with me. You'll look up the Game Grinder on YouTube. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Jason as Corpse Flood Gaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And also the Super Enabler Bros.
Hell yeah. Super Enabler Bros probably have a new episode maybe next week. We'll see. Pretty soon, though. That's another couple things I'll be playing. My main game that we play in between episodes, as well as my RPG pick. Did you find out what game I got in that yet?
I am not caught up.
Oh, right to the heart.
I will be, though.
All right, yeah, but I think you'll be pretty stoked to find out what I got. So, I got another hefty game to play sometime in the next little while. We don't play the RPGs in between episodes, but we'll do probably like 2 or 3 episodes, depending on how close they are together, before we discuss our picks there.
Nice.
So I'm excited for the games I got. As soon as I'm done Final Fantasy VII, actually, I'll probably jump into my in between episodes game and then get going on my RPG.
Cool.
I've played it before, but not extensively. Enough to know that I really like it, and I added it to my list, so cannot wait.
Sounds good. So then, Tom, Laci, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us for the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having us on board.
Yeah, first podcast.
Thank you very much. And it was kind of easy since they're doing an update on Animal Crossing. I had to play, so I had nothing better to do.
Perfect.
We're distracted. Yeah. Just like me trying to like finish out a cutscene before we started. I was like, I hope it's a short one. Hope it's not a Kojima game one where I'm like, okay, let's get back to the gameplay. Save.
For sure.
You know, that's the thing with cutscenes. They're always at the worst time. When you got time for a cutscene, no cutscene.
Yeah.
Thankfully, these ones are, like we were saying, short.
Yes. All right. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye.